and to introduce our special guest. And it's my pleasure having NHT Global Ambassador with us, Joe Garcia. Hello, Joe. Can you hear me?
I can. Antonella, how are you?
Good, good,
Good. So,
perfect.
just a quick question. Can you see me and my slides or just the slides?
I can see slides and I can see you.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. Well, welcome everyone. I'm truly excited to be here today. And I know we've got people not just in Europe, but all over the world tapping into this webinar. And it's actually a really important webinar, particularly in the times that we're dealing with today. With the crisis, we're in crisis mode all over the world. It's amazing. I was just thinking about it that just the other day, I'm moving into my 27th year working from home. So what's going on today, I've been used to self-quarantine the last 27 years, working from home, building a business around the world. And the reason why I've been able to do that is that I've become duplicatable. So one of the things that you need to recognize is we as individuals are not duplicatable. So for example, I'm not a duplicatable person. What I do around the world, can be difficult for some people to learn. However, what I'm going to be sharing with you here today is some things that you can do that will duplicate your success in your business. And that's the greatest part of our business model, where we can share products, we can share the business opportunity, not just in our own market, but around the world. And we know specifically today, everyone is at home, or most everyone around the world is spending most of their days working from home or at home in quarantine status. So I would recommend, as always, when you're watching a webinar, you're watching a training, one of the things that I've done over the years to help speed up my learning process, help speed up my awareness, help speed up my conscious level is taking notes, taking copious notes. This webinar is being recorded, so I'm going to blast it out over the next couple of days. You can re-watch it over and over again. But the key to my success is in terms of learning is repetitions and mother of skill. So when I learn something new, I'm going to watch it over and over and over again until it gets into my subconscious, where I don't even have to think about it. Let's see if I can move. So success is like making a cake. And I use this analogy a lot. When you look at a cake, there's a number of shows on TV, baking shows and food shows. So if you're a foodie, which many of you I know are, when you want to duplicate a recipe, okay, from a great chef. So for example, there is a cake that I love. It's my daughter's birthday coming up, and I just ordered a cake. And one of these days, because I asked the owner of the shop, it's just him and his wife now working, and they'll just do deliveries. You can't walk into the shop. And I asked him, in the future, can I spend a few hours with you to show me how you make these incredible cakes? And he was a little standoffish at first, but I said, look, I'm not here to steal your business. I want to learn what you do, and I hope you can pay it forward. And I want to learn how to bake these cakes that you're making. So the first thing you do in a cake making process is you're going to look at the ingredients. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at the ingredients. I'm going to match the ingredients that he is using and matching the preparation. I'm going to match his philosophy. I'm going to model his mindset. So when you factor all these things in, I should be able to make almost as good as the cake that he does. And this is the secret to success, secret to this duplication system, is you need to follow the successful NHT distributors around the world, what we teach. So if you want to become a global ambassador, learn from Dan Cattle. He's got over 30 years. Learn his philosophy. Learn what he does every single day. Ask them those questions. That's what I did in the early days when I was 23, 24, when I first met Dan. So because when I modeled those techniques, model those mindsets, model those specific ingredients, I should get the same results. And I did. That's because of this philosophy of modeling what works. So one of the things that is a challenge in today's world is you go online, you go on social media, almost everyone is a expert in building a business, expert in network marketing, expert in whatever it is. So keep in mind, one of the great assets that we have here in NH2 Global is we've got incredible leadership that haven't been around just a year or 2 years, but 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Look at the leaders that we have in Europe. I'm amazed that, they're not just been in business for 2 or 3, 4 or 5 years. They've been in business here with NHT 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 years. That is a clue. These are the types of people that you want to consistently match what they are doing, their ingredients, their day-to-day operation. And that's the quickest way to success. So I hope today that you're going to, for those of you who've watching this webinar and it resonates with you, please watch it over and over again. Share it with your team members. That is the number one secret to duplication, is promoting the information out to your team members, out to your customers, staying in touch with them. So the number one question that you need to ask every day, everything that you're doing in this business. So, and I'm speaking to the people that want to earn a part-time income, want to earn a career income, or want to earn crazy income here in NH2 Global, is you want duplication to happen in your business. The number one question you need to ask yourself in everything you do is, what I'm doing right now building leadership? Is what I'm doing right now building leadership? So there's 5 things that we do in our business. So we become our best customers. So for example, this morning, I took advantage of a shipping promotion that we have here in North America, and I ordered close to $1,000 worth of product. There was all these type of promotions. I got to get that product. I'm running out of this. So I'm my best customer. My family is my best customer. So you cannot build this business over time if you're not consistently using our products and becoming the product. Second thing is learning how to share the product. Learning how to share the business, which we're going to go over here today. Learning how to develop your skill sets, so personally develop. So one of the fallacies in this type of business, because we're selling all the time, if you look at direct sales and network marketing, you see a lot of leaders and other companies, they will tell you, you can go and make $1 million a year in your first year or second year without building your skill sets. All these crazy claims that they make. And one of the things that I've learned from day one is teach people the truth. Let's tell them, if you develop the skill sets, the amount of money that you make in anything in life, especially as an entrepreneur, will be based on how hard you work on yourself and you develop your skill sets. You develop your skill sets. Ask someone like Andreas Papakostas, who runs a very successful sports group, a sports teams organization, and he's coached thousands and thousands of kids over the years that have gone on to college. And he will tell you firsthand, those ones that have succeeded, those ones that have become elite, they're practicing more than anyone else. They may have the skill sets, the talent, but talent alone won't make it. It's the work ethic. It's the skill sets developing. And that was one of the things that I learned in the early years, is I became successful in this industry because I worked harder than anyone else. I wanted it more than anyone else. I developed more than anyone else. I remember in 1996, I was on a cruise, and I was the 3rd year into my business, and a gentleman who I really respected came up to me and said, "Joe, I've been in this industry for 20 years. I've never seen anyone grow as much as you have." And I thought, my first reaction was, wow, I must have been real horrible because I have not reached where I wanted to go yet. And that was actually, he was giving me a compliment because he saw how hard I worked on myself, how hard I was working on developing my skill sets. Till later on, when I got into NHT and I started recognizing that I needed to duplicate myself more and I need to work smarter, not harder. And this question is what I'm doing building leadership. Is what am I doing building leadership? So the fifth thing that we do is teaching people how to do those four things. And that's what leadership's all about. This picture is actually one of my favorite pictures ever. We were in Croatia last year, actually 2018. It seems like it was just last year. Our European leadership and our Russian leadership that qualified for this trip. It was unbelievable. So when things go back to normal, when they will, one of the things that we want to duplicate is help people qualify for these promotions, for these trip incentives that we have all over the world, because they are life-changing. The statistics are well over 90% of people that qualify for a trip, 2 years later, they're still in business here with NHT Global. So it's a great opportunity to create more friendships, to get on 5-star resorts, 5-star trips, and the NHT staff, including Antonella here. So grateful for her because she put together this trip primarily, and it was an incredible job. So the number one thing that you need to really duplicate in your business, and it's the most important training, more important than any other training that you'll learn, is getting started process. And I find majority, because it's easy to do and easy not to do, majority of our distributors that are sponsoring new people into the business are not using the getting started plan that we have. The getting started that was developed by Andreas Papakostas, along with some help from myself. Incredible. So under the first 90 days, and we've got it in multiple languages too, which has been duplicated around the world, is our getting started training. So the very first thing that you need to do when you get someone started in the business, this is what I do every single day, is I don't get them going into the getting started training yet, is I want to have them do one thing. And the one thing is, I'm going to ask them this question: who do you know is successful? Who do you know is entrepreneurial? Who do you know is in self-help, always looking to do other things? Who do you know who's always wanting to grow more? Because I want to connect with them in the first 24, 48 hours with that with the new person I've enrolled, because I want to create that sense of urgency. So for example, when I got started in NHT, I didn't wait for the product. I didn't wait to get educated on the product. I just started to work that same minute. I started to contact people. Yes, I had a lot of experience. And one of the challenges that we have in our business is a lot of people join our business. They wait till they get the product. There's no sense of urgency. They start consuming the product. And chances are, and I'm dealing with statistics here, but chances are, majority of people that start with the business, if you don't get them started in the first couple of days, the first week, and starting to talk to new people about this business and about the product, the chances of you trying to get them to do that after a month, after 2 or 3 weeks, is not going to happen. Because what will happen is excuses will come. Why they joined initially will fade away from their memory, because people have so small of an attention span. So it's important to create that sense of urgency. So we have a binary compensation plan. You need to qualify them on the left and on the right by sponsoring someone who has, if you're in Europe, at least a Ruby position. If you're in North America, it's a bronze position, 9 EBV. And now you've got them qualified, one on the left and one on the right. Preferred customers do not qualify people for the binary. Okay, so it's important that you sponsor one on the left, business builder, and one on the right. So as soon as you do that, you're showing people how to do this business. So the other thing is you want to get into people's warm markets, because if you're dealing with the cold market, generally you're going to, if you're really good and develop the skill sets, 1 out of 10 people will enroll into the business. But if you're dealing with warm market, that goes up almost 50% because of the connection, because of the bonding. And so when you enroll someone into the business and you tie into their top prospects, their candidate list, now they become your warm market. They become your warm market. So this is the first thing that I do really, really quickly, is create that sense of urgency, tap into their warm market. I get on the phone with their prospects, and I'm going to cover with you the system, the duplicatable system that you need to teach your people on a daily basis. And then I will get them into the getting started process. I'll have them watch the incredible training that Andreas did. And I have them fill out the form that we have on Steam Team on the first 90 days that will, with a number of questions. And we're redefining that, making it a little bit simpler. But those questions really help me determine what that person wants out of the business. And it helps them, because the key to this business, as you've heard me say this 1,000 times, 90% of the reason you will be successful is your dream, your why. And when you have the why, it's just law. That why will make you get up in the morning, make you don't sleep and still do some calls. It will drive you to the next level in the business. It'll drive you to manifest your dreams. I know sometimes people take a step at a time. They can't, because of their programming, they can't get themselves there. We really need to help people determine their why, and that has to be very specific, very specific. And if you're not doing these simple steps with your prospect, with your new distributor, that becomes a new distributor, you're going to have a hard time duplicating. So what will happen is you're getting someone started. Let's say they get started at Platinum. You're not doing this with them. They wait till they get their product. Okay? So that takes, depending where you live, 5, 6, 7 business days. Okay, so 7 days later, you're reconnecting with them. Did you get your products? You go over how to use the product, et cetera, et cetera. Let's get you started. So 2 weeks, now they haven't spoken to them. If they have spoken to any of their prospects, they probably have done a poor job on it, because of the content. They have not been trained how to do contact and inviting. You need to take complete control, because what will happen is if they start talking to their friends and family, they will get rejected. And what will happen, they will end up not doing the business anymore. It will kill them because of the dream stealers. So it's important that you take complete control over the process. Complete control over the process. One of the major issues in duplication in our business is most of us don't do proper follow-up. Proper follow-up with our new distributors, proper follow-up with our customers, proper follow-up with our potential business builders. Because people don't create the sense of urgency. And in my day, I'm always creating a sense of urgency. I'm on top of people every single day, every hour. If I can show someone the business now, send them to YNHT, and I'm going to ask them if they're free in an hour or 2 hours or tonight, because I want to get back to them as quick as possible. I want to engage them, because I know on the average, they have to look at the business 3, 4, 5 times before they end up making a decision. So I want to create that sense of urgency. I want to create the sense of urgency. And this also, you got to remember, what you are doing with your new distributor is you're actually training them at the same time. I remember when I was helping my daughter ride a bike, and Kyle, my son, the first time he went on a bike, it was like he didn't need training wheels. He just picked it up right away. My daughter Vanessa took a little while, and I was kind of concerned to leave her. Leave my because I would lead her with the handlebars, And I ended up, after a couple times, recognized she needs to get training wheels. So I got training wheels. And then when we took the training wheels off, I slowly let go of that handlebars. But it took a little while. I was showing her how to ride the bike. This is what we need to do and understand, is developing good habits so they can duplicate, because they will learn more from what you do than what you say. And this is why you got to be cognizant when you're showing someone the business, the NHT business, and you're doing something that they cannot do, or they can think that they cannot do or learn, more than likely they'll never get into the business. And if they do, they'll try to duplicate what you just did and how they just got into the business. So, for example, you know, there's a team in Eastern Russia, Northeast Russia, in Komsomolsk, and they have this office all day long. They're doing skin indulgence demonstrations. And one of the challenges, they have huge success selling the product. They're bringing lots of women in, no men. And the reason why is when men are coming in, they think this is the only way to do the business, because that's how they're shown the business. And the women have not been able to eloquently share that there's so many other tools and the bigger picture, you know, and this is where I've helped them expand that kind of thought process. So sharing the product. Okay, so we have a lot of incredible distributors that know everything about the product, down to the ingredients. And if there's any sugar in them or whatever it is, and they'll Google the ingredients. And what ends up happening is they start to impart all this information to people. So I'll give you a good example. You're on a phone with a prospect and they're asking you questions about the product, okay? So are you going to spend the next 35, 40, 50 minutes telling them everything you know about the product? Most distributors do that, and that is wrong in most cases. I'll tell you why, because you're spending a lot of time. Number two, you're not building any leadership. Number three, those people will say eventually, geez, I can't learn, I can't know all about this product like this person has, you know, and in their mind, they're going to say, well, no to the business eventually. So the question going back is this, everything that you're doing, is it developing leadership? In this case, no, it's not developing leadership. I see people that very talented, experienced professionals in our industry and in NHT Global, they're spending a lot of time educating people on the product. And I'm telling you, that is not duplicatable. What you want to do is, NHT has incredible right away of videos and product information that you can send them. We on Steam Team, we have got numerous training videos on there from a lot of our top distributors and doctors on there. All you need to do is, so if someone comes to me and says, oh, Joe, can you tell me more about Stem Renew? So I might spend 2 minutes on the overall view of Stem Renew, but I'll tell them, go and watch this. Go and watch this. Because I'm showing them how easy the business can be done. And the training on 30-minute training, all you need to do is spend 30 minutes. You'll know everything about the product. So for example, try to explain colloidal silver, a restore silver, or very difficult product, and I bet you 99% of you could not explain that product properly. You don't need to. Just send them to that video that we have on the NHT site on on the product training on Steam Team. It's just showing people point and click, point and click. So that way, in an hour or 2 hours, where you may spend time with one person, you can speak to 4 or 5 people. That's developing leadership, and you're showing people what to do. So for example, if someone wants to know about recruiting, okay, I've done maybe 6, 7 trainings specifically on recruiting strategies. I'll just send them to those trainings on Steam Team. Go watch this and call me back. It's because I'm asking myself, is this developing leadership? And this is what happens when you're you're prospecting, and what you want to do is you want to be informed, but you want to know where the tools are so you can show them where to educate themselves. Don't be the expert. Okay, yes, we have a number of naturopaths in our organization, and they have huge amounts of information, education, and that's what they do. That's okay. But if they want to develop a long-term business, duplicating themselves, not just customers, but duplicating themselves where they're going to have residual income and get into the career income and more, you need to know where that information is so you can just send it to them and then get back to them with any question. Sharing the business. So we have a number of tools, thousands of tools, not thousands, but you know what I mean. And again, what you're doing needs to be duplicatable. So one of the hardest things that I had to learn in 1993 when I got started is I was terrified of doing presentations. I was terrified to speak in front of a group. And I remember the first time that I was videotaped, I was doing a meeting in Buffalo, New York, in the United States, and someone videotaped me. I brought it home and I watched the first 5 minutes of that and I was horrified. I was absolutely horrified. I've not watched that since. That really did a lot for my self-confidence at that time. I'm being sarcastic, but I realized back then the tools that we're using, we have to be great presenters. We have to learn how to show the business one-on-one, show it in small little groups, because we didn't have the access to technology. Our technology was a fax machine. We thought that was incredible, just sticking a paper in, it goes on to the other side. We had to call in every day on a computer voicemail. It would tell us what our volumes were. We didn't, and then at the end of the month, we'd get these printouts. So today, it's so much easier because of technology. So this is one of the reasons why we've created tools like Why NHT or Why Our Business, same site, which gives people a vision presentation by Dan Cato, an incredible business opportunity presentation by the great Andreas Papakostas, has testimonials that have been approved by the company, compensation plan video. Everything's there for people to see who are interested in the business. We have live business presentations all over the world, in English every Saturday, in Spanish every Saturday. Actually, they're doing it basically every single day. We have a Chinese site like this. We have it in Russian, ynht.ru. We have it in Spanish, porquenht.com. So we have it in multiple languages. So if you're building in other markets, just you can reach out to me and I can send you those sites so you can use those as a tool. We have it in, just set up one in Hindi for the India partners. yrbiz.in. So why do you do that? So I can spend the time, and I've learned how to present a business because I've done it thousands of times. And I'll go on Zoom, you go to a webinar platform, and I can show top prospects in 30 minutes why they should sign up in NHT. That is a tool that I use. For the masses that have not learned how to do a presentation yet, that the skill sets are not that strong, it's better to use a tool like YNHT. So basically what I'm doing is I'm inviting people to take a look at the site. I'm going to immediately, as a second step, get their commitment to watch the site, to view all the videos. All I need is an hour of your time, and I'll make an appointment within 24 hours, no more than 24 hours. I'm going to want to, if I'm talking to them this morning, I'm going to talk to them tonight or tomorrow at the latest. And that's where step 3 is bring in a third-party connection. So, or what we call a 3-way call. So I'm going to invite them to hear from another distributor. So for most people, because I have no upline in the company, you're going to use your upline sponsor or one of your leaders to help you connect. And you can use Sideline also to connect on that step 3. So basically what you want to do is when you get on the phone with them, and I typically want to do this on video more and more today. It's because the quickest way to bond with people is to see their body language. It's exactly like sitting in front of them. So the tools that we have, like FaceTime, WhatsApp video, you can use Skype, you can get a free Zoom account and use Zoom. You know, those are tools that are essential, because what you want to do is you want to see their body language. You want to model their body language. You want to model their tonality. You want to build. It's all part of building the relationship. So in step 1, 2, or 3, I'm going to make sure I do at least one video call with them. So on the third step, what you're going to do is your role is just to introduce you and edify the person that you're bringing on. And you leave it up to them to answer the questions of that person, share their story, and eventually close them with the question, do you have enough information to get started? And if they say no, the sponsor will say, well, what is it that you need to see to make a decision? And they, for the most part, don't know. But you want to specifically get to that question to get into the heart of the matter. If they say yes, now you're going over the packages, why you should get started at platinum, for example, or gold, and because you're accessing the top part of the compensation plan, et cetera, and you go through all the questions that way. So moving forward, very simple system. Everyone can do it. You can do it multiple times daily, and it's important for duplication. It's important for duplication. And if you don't do it, then your people are going to have a hard time recruiting, because recruiting for most people, because of the sales filter, is the hardest thing for people to learn. So along with this, it's important in the getting started process that you teach people how to contact and invite. It's another skill set. I bet you right now, we have a number of people on here that probably 90% of the people that we have on right now, you know, I don't want to offend anybody, don't know how to contact and invite properly. Most people are using the direct approach, and it's important that you go on Steam Team and study the training that I did. It's under first 90 days on contact inviting. Teach those concepts, as it will improve your success ratio in getting people to take a look at it. And basically brings people to the understanding that we all have a sales filter. Everyone loves to buy products, loves to buy things, but they don't like to be sold. So you need to learn how to bypass that sales filter to get people to take a look. If you use a direct approach, hey, Antonella, this is Joe, do you have a minute? You know, Antonella, I really respect you in business. I'm really excited about a company that's been around for 19 years, fastest growing publicly traded company in the world. And business people like you are making some serious money. Would you be open to taking a look? Because I'm looking to expand my business in your local area. So that's a direct approach. And typically when you use a direct approach, people will judge the message, the messenger, rather than the message. But if you learn how to bypass the sales filter, which you'll learn on the contact and inviting, you will have huge success. So you line up 10 people today, and you line up 10 people, the same 10 people with a new person or most NHD distributors. And I will recruit more of those 10 people than that person will, even though I don't know them. It's because I've learned how to bypass the sales filter. So contacting and inviting is what the direct approach is what most people use. I would never recommend it because you will have a hard time getting people to even look at the website, because they will judge you rather than the message. For most people, though, for highly successful people, have a great background, have a huge circle of influence. When you're fortunate to attract those types of people in your business, they can use a direct approach. I remember there's one of our distributors who's back in 2002 that helped us get into South Korea. His name is Ken Yu, who is a businessman here in Toronto. And the first 30 people that him and I talked to in his contact base all signed up without rarely me getting into all the details of the business, because they thought, wow, if Ken is in this business, it must be a great one. So he had a huge circle of influence on people because of his success in business in that community. So please spend the time, because I don't have the time to get into it here today, to really review that training. Simple steps repeated over time, you're going to get the results. And again, it's not just good enough that you learn it. Remember, the fifth way that we develop the business is teach people what we know, the skill sets. That's why we set up Steam Team in multiple languages, because you can just point and click to people all day long to learn the skill sets. But you also have to remember, if you're not following these steps that I've given you, you're going to have a hard time. So if you don't go through a person's why in the business, they will not do half the things that you tell them to do, because there's no why in doing the business. You know, they'll come up with excuses, especially after one or two rejections. My God, they're out of the business really quickly. So follow up in that area is critical to you moving forward. So this system is very simple, easy to use. Let the pros help show the business. But you also have to keep in mind, in today's world, so as I'm doing this webinar, I've got like 30, 40 text messages, and we're so distracted by social media and the phones. So typically when people look into a site, they're doing something else, or they're watching something else, or they can be easily distracted. So you need to get people committed to watch an hour or at least 30 minutes, at least a business presentation, so you can take them to the next step. And when you do a follow-up, one of the things that when you do the three-way call with them, you got to make sure that they've reviewed all the information. And typically, I did one this morning, and I knew within 2 minutes the person hadn't reviewed. He just browsed through the site. So I asked him, look, you know, it's up to you. This is a very serious business. This is what it's done for me. You know, I would recommend that you don't take this lightly. You know, you're telling me that you want to grow, get into a business, so you're not caught into the situation that you're in right now with your job. So you need to take the time the next hour. This could change your life. So can I get your commitment to do that? And he did. So last part of duplication is, again, developing a culture of building skill sets. So what you want to do in your team is you got to identify the really serious ones that want to go up in rank, and masterminding a personal development program with them. So I was testing this part with a group in Piura, Peru, which is in the northwest part of Peru, right along the coastline. Beautiful area. And I told him, put together a mastermind, because his team was all full of non-entrepreneurs, you know, basic people with their jobs, never been in business before, and this was all new to them. So we wanted to develop a culture of them learning and finding, working with people and developing and growing their conscious level. So I suggested put together and have all his team members do the Science of Getting Rich. And that's what I duplicate when you learn about the getting started process, making sure that people get on that book or another book that you resonate, but getting them to read, to feed their mind. Because if you're not helping them feed their mind, someone else will. Guaranteed in today's world, someone else will. So you need to help develop the culture of building these skill sets. So masterminding a personal development book is one of the great things that you can do in the beginning. And I've done this many times over the years, and they've all worked. So you read a chapter, you get together once a week, you know, obviously you can use technology. You don't have to meet with people, especially if they're spread out, and everyone discusses what they learned in that chapter. It's so powerful. And then you tie it into the business and ranking. And that's what we're doing with this group in Purita, tying them. When do you want to get to the first rank? You know, so because they're building their hope with the book, they're building their mindset, they're building their conscious level, and now you're teaching them how to grow as individuals. Because when you grow people, they will do a lot more. When you don't grow people, they will do a lot less. So, last but not least, the number one part of duplication in our business, and everything ties into our incredible international recognition program. The company recently, as we all know, in January 1st of this year, changed our supreme bonus took that cash in the supreme bonus, because the supreme bonus is an incredible program, but it was paid after the year. After we accumulated all the points, it was paid after a year. So the company decided to take that cash, okay, and pay it right out when people achieve ranks. So please take the time, if you haven't done so, take the time to know how much money you're going to make when you hit the first rank, which is $500 US, and then they have subsequent ranks. And the great thing they did about this ranking system, and this is unlike any other company in this industry. So most companies, or every company that I know of in their system, have something similar. As you move up in ranks, you're going to get paid cash bonuses, but it's paid on from the last rank that you achieved. So 3 years ago, you achieved a certain rank. You're only going to get paid in these other companies when you reach the next rank. What NHT has done is done it on the last rank that you achieved in the calendar year of 2019. There is a little promotion in the North American market that was just sent out today that changes that a little bit. I would recommend that you find that in your email, go on the website. But for the rest of the world, you can, based on the last rank that you achieved last year. So a lot of people ask me, Joe, how do you get to Global Ambassador? So Global Ambassador is basically 600,000 on one side, 300,000 the other, minimum, okay, combination of 900,000. And with the new rules, go take a look at the new rules that we have with regard to getting to ranks. And the minimum volume you have to do with the weaker leg. So basically, you need to do 900,000 in organizational volume in both legs. Okay, so to most people, that is, wow, that's really tough to do. Like, I can't even fathom getting to that level. Yeah, so if you're starting, or you've been in the business 2 or 3 years, and you're starting to develop and grow, that seems far away. That seems like an incredible achievement. It's an incredible achievement. So what I like to do is I break it down to the first rank. The first rank in our recognition plan is the most important rank in the recognition plan. You get people focused in your getting started process, in your leadership that you're trying to grow. Ask them the question, when do you want to get to that first rank? That's 7,500 in volume in both legs, in the combination of both legs, okay, in total volume. When you get to that first rank, so we have the Rising Star bonus, which is 250, but it's the first rank that is the key to getting people to that level. So if you do that, what happens? You'll get one person there, because all you're doing is talking about getting to the first rank. 2 people there, 3 people there, 4, and then it's going to be 8, then 16, because everyone's doing the same thing. Calculate how many first rank distributors you need to get to 900,000 in volume. So you can just make that calculation. So I'll give you exactly here. So 900,000 divided by 7,500, that's 120 first rank people, associate levels people in your team. That's it. So when you break it down, but you got to develop this duplication, getting people to that first rank. So ask yourself this question, and it's just as important as that question, if what I'm doing today is it building leadership, the next question is, how many people have you asked in the last month in your team this question? When do you want to get to the first rank? And if it's 0, what is going to happen? You're going to have 0. So it's kind of like building a global business. I ask people all the time, who do you know in India? Who do you know in Europe? Who do you know in the United States or West Coast of Canada? Who do you know in Hawaii? Who do you know down in South America? Who do you know in Russia? I'm constantly asking that question to my prospects, to my distributors, to our leaders, because I'm planting the seed. It's amazing because right now, over the last 2 weeks, I've been in self-quarantine, like I have been the last 27 years. I'm consistently reviewing my lists. Okay, so I still, a lot of it, have it on paper. I've transitioned over time to an Excel spreadsheet. So I'm going through all these names of people that I've talked to, 3, 4, 5, 6, that are in my database, that I've sent emails to before, and I consistently follow up, that are connected. And I'm thinking, I'm going over that list. Who can I call today? You know, so I was talking to Antonella earlier today, before we got on, and I've been reconnecting with a lot of our former Italian distributors prior to us really officially launching in Italy. And I'm constantly reconnecting with people and prospects. And that's because that's what we do. We get paid by developing our database. And the larger the database and the connections that we have, you know, you're going to have excited people to join the business. So I'm constantly upgrading that. And I'm telling them, you know, during our conversations, who do you know in these countries? Because right now, when you're joining NHT Global, it's not like when Danny and I started back in 2001. You know, we had to do all the opening of markets and travel and set up the trainings and all that stuff, all that time that we put in. The distributors that are coming in now, they've got it made. They got 50 countries that are opened up. You know, they've got an internet world now that they connect with people for free. You know what my telephone bills, Dan and our telephone bills in the early days, where we're still using telephone, you know what that is? You know, this looks like a telephone. You know, that was our major expense. We were paying 4 and 5 figures monthly in our best months for telephone bills, for long distance, because that was our major expense. Today, everything is done for free. You know, with all these text messaging apps, the consistency, the connection. So all keeping this all in mind, the 2 questions that you've got to ask yourself for duplication is, what I'm doing right now, is it building more leadership? Second question is when do you want to get to the first rank in the international recognition program? When do you want to get to the first rank? If you don't ask that question, you're not going to develop first rank people. You're not going to develop associates. And that is the key to getting to global ambassador. All you need is like 90 first rank people on one side and 30 in the other. That's all you need. And all you need is 2 leaders on one side that are 100% all in, wanting to move up in rank, and at least 1 on the other side. That's all you need in our compensation plan. And that is why you see many global ambassadors NHT that sponsored less than 20 people into NHT. Think about that, because of the power of the compensation plan. So Antonella, I'm going to turn it back to you. I hope this was a training that resonated with all of you. Thanks very much for joining. I would recommend, I've recorded it. I'll blast it out here in the next couple of days. But please, everyone, stay safe. Listen to your governments to stay in home. You know, have the social distancing. I was talking to Antonella. We talk often, and she's seen what has happened in her country. You know, and the deaths, and people didn't listen in the beginning. And this is we have our incredible products that can help with our immune system. It blasted out a study that was done on 2 drugs. One is NAC, which is a precursor to glutathione. You know, so educate yourself, get your family on these products if they haven't. if your funds are limited, choose the most important ones for your family and consume them every day, because that is more important than anything else right now that is happening in your life. Number one is health. When you have health, great things happen, right, Antonella?
Right, Joe. Thank you very much, and thank you for the training. Well, building leadership is one of the most challenging skills, right?
Yes.
And taking over control on the process of getting started and helping and supporting new members in the process. Thank you very much for the amazing and helpful training. I would like to just remind you a couple of things. First of all, we are going to have webinars every week. And I want to anticipate that next webinar will be on social media. And we will have a special guest from NHT Corporate from the US, the manager that is in charge of social media for the corporate website. The next webinar will be April 9th, same time, 6 p.m. EU Central. Just a few reminders about promotions. Again, we have some promotions running in Europe. The one that I mentioned earlier about the 100 BV reorders getting one facelift free, and 125 BV initial orders will receive one facelift free. This week, we also activated again the Immune Boost package that was sold out in a few days, beginning of March. So Triodane is back, and we activated the package, so you can purchase it now. I also want to remind the lucky draw for attendees of the webinars that we are organizing every week. So we are going to give out the top selling products in May for a lucky draw, including all attendees of the webinar. So the more you attend, the more chances you have to win.
So Antonella, can you just, I know we have a lot of people that live outside of Europe, and many of them that are outside of Europe will be watching the replay. Can you just kind of share with people how Europe is such an incredible market to operate in? Most of the Western world has been populated by Europeans, and how your staff supports the whole entire team. Because I know we have an important, we have an auto ship promotion where anyone that in Europe has an auto ship minimum 60 BB.
Right, exactly. Yeah, last month we launched this promotion. We have a successful ownership program in Europe. So people, both customers and distributors, they set up the ownership, and they feel it's just practical and easy to set up and receive products every month. And we started the free shipping on AutoShip with minimum 60 BB in March. So the program is pretty successful. We doubled the AutoShips in some countries, in some European countries. Yeah, they can enjoy free shipping costs on 60 BB AutoShip orders.
So the entire European Union, we have a infrastructure built. We ship throughout the entire European Union. Products are all available in the entire European Union. So I think that's important for everyone to understand that.
Yeah. So we ship to all European countries, all countries that are part of the customs union, 28 European countries.
And there's no issue
we are running the
right
same
now.
Sorry?
I'm sorry. There's no issues with shipping right now outside of Italy. There's a delay, correct?
Right. There are some delays, mainly because of an increase in e-commerce and some of the cities that have been locked down totally. There could be some delays in delivering. Still, we are shipping to all European countries. Yes.
Great. So for those of you who are global, auto ship is different from auto bank. So auto bank is not introduced into Europe, but auto bank is basically, it's taken through your credit card, through your commissions, and the whole world of NHT has auto ship. So I would recommend, if you're getting a preferred customer on, you know, one of the things that I have them do is get on a monthly order. That way I'm not calling them back, or they're calling me, Joe, can I place another order? You know, it's always best for those, especially when you get a preferred customer on Antonella, I don't get them on unless they commit for 3 months. So usually, depending on their lifestyle and what they eat, I want to get them on for 3 months, because I know within 3 months they're going to get results. They're going to see the value of the product.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the auto ship runs every 4 weeks when they set up. In Europe, they can even choose the date when they would like to receive the package.
So how does it work with their credit cards because of the new credit card laws? How does that work?
Yeah. We recently introduced a new payment system that is compliant with the European regulation, including a 3D secure system. So it's an additional authentication. Basically, now you will receive, when you enter credit card data, you receive a one-time password on your device, and you need to enter the password on the page. So there is an interaction between NHT system and your bank. So obviously that is a security system that has been announced to avoid frauds and avoid that somebody could use credit cards.
They will get a text message, correct?
Right. With a one-time password on their device, on their cell phone.
So where is that password entered in after that?
On the page, they will, as soon as they enter credit card data, the page will redirect on their bank, the bank issuing the credit card. Okay? And they need to enter the password there.
Fantastic. And that also happens in auto ship, correct?
It happens on auto ship the first time. So as soon as they set up the auto ship, it happens just once to make sure that the owner of the credit card is the one that is placing the order. And after that, the auto ship runs every 4 weeks.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Antonella.
Thank you. Stay healthy and safe.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.